All right, we are recording for still in the omnibus, but finally at Isom Ill-Advised Part 1, so that's the first of the books from the Rippaverse. Okay. Eric July, writer and editor-in-chief, Cliff Richards, artist, Sebastian Cheng, it's with an E, not an A, so colorist, Invisible Art Studio letterer, Kara Brown, assistant, EIC, Andrew Rodriguez, editor, Jen Sylvia Saska, editors. We don't get an introduction, just as created by Eric July and Marcos Rios. And then we do get a letter, just like the others have had. This one by Eric July. Basically, him talking about how he is very thankful for the various fans and colleagues that have helped him realize various dreams over the years. And that he decided to write Isom because he has a love for comic books, but the American comic book industry has not been in good shape of late, and so he wants to help solve that problem by just being an alternative. And by trying to create good comics so that people still have a place to go. And that is a good idea, because by having that alternative, you at least keep the love for the medium going. So that then either the established industry corrects, or it collapses, but people still have comic books they can go to. Okay. It starts with something I guess since it does say police district there, police, likely as we are at an HQ. There we go. So basically, there's a politician on the screen talking about how crime has decreased so much since his term began, and the people in the headquarters, the third police district headquarters. At least I assume it's headquarters. A little hard to read there. Anyway, but basically that it's like, we're the ones actually doing the work. You just got in here 6 months ago. So it serves kind of as a way to set up that how things have been going. How they have to deal with weirdos. Have you seen the chick with the red hair? She could do some things to me. I hear Alpha Core has been needed for months, and who's that? And who's the new dude that then seem to kick him out? Because it seems like this guy's a little bit of old school. So the idea of the superpowered people probably is annoying to him, because what can he handle with that? Like, he needs to call and help. It's kind of my impression of him. We then cut to the outskirts of Flores Park, the main city here. Shadow Valley, it names it as. And this also said earlier, where we see Avery training, because this is his ranch, Silman Ranch. Gets a phone call from his sister, who works at Projexis. And it's basically had the daughter of old friend doing internship there, and she's just dropped off the face of the earth, it seems. A Mrs. Newman's daughter, and it basically this was, a friend of ours, a dog friend of theirs while growing up, friend of their mother's, and it's basically it even has here, I always liked Mrs. Newman, everybody did, she never missed a day of service. If mom found out I didn't help her, she'd kill me. It's like, because he doesn't want to get involved. He doesn't want to go into the city. He has his ranch. He wants to just stay there, not have to do anything else. Well, not have to get involved. But, nah, his mom would kill him, so he's gonna go. We then cut, still, this is earlier than, because the police chief, got a phone call with somebody just saying a media report, and just saying she's back. We see shortly that was Yaira, that's her. It's also on the cover. She's the right there. So the one actually standing at the same level in the foreground, or nearly so, as Isom, as Avery. And something interesting. So we also get Alpha Corps mentioned here, that they're en route because they're the ones that can actually potentially deal with her. But one thing interesting here is the whole, you didn't think I'd notice you following me? So it seems like she might have a short fuse, but that technically this encounter with her could have been avoided, I guess. Anyway. So the guards are, well, the police, they are, shooting at her, and then Alpha Corps arrives, and we meet them here. Braxwell, Ingrid Valdez. Braxwell's able to fly and does punch her. Ingrid has this, NG whip thing, it seems, and tries to grab her, but is thrown away. She does not have the ability to fly. Then we've got Brian Solari as well, who is interesting, because he is flying. But he was the general who had super strength back in the Great War of Separation books, which, okay, how does he know how to fly? I'm curious about that because, well, yeah, just how would his abilities continue to develop such that he gains something so radically different from super strength, which is flight? All right, we got to Avery about half a mile away. This does come relevant later, because his sister told him that, yeah, that this intern, her name was Jasmine, had connections to an old homie of Avery's who, his name is Darren, and he basically is, no, he's not a good guy at all. But it's like Avery knows him, so it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go talk to him, see if I can find something out. And this guy is very, very resentful. Yeah. So I basically have an entire page here I want to read. We competed for rosters our freshman year of high school. You were a decent athlete, but you didn't make it. The coaches didn't even try to find room for you, but you didn't complain. You didn't even try out again. You were also a subpar student. That fine sister of yours outperformed you academically and athletically, but you never seemed envious. That made me curious. But we were cool, but I didn't admire you. You had both parents around and a good household, and you somehow managed to amount to nothing. You just faded into the shadows, rarely to be heard from, set up for success, and you did nothing with it. When people like me go away like that, we're usually dead or in jail. Yet I built myself an empire. Some of it the legal way, some of it not so much. But an empire nonetheless. Lovely young ladies like Jasmine are useful to me at this juncture of my career. Unless you're trying to mop my kitchen floors, you are not. Which, I mean, it's actually kind of... I do like how this is written here. Because of how it establishes that Avery has been hiding his abilities for long enough that this guy has no clue. Which is a little interesting because, as you can see, it's not like he hides his face in the Isom costume. Anyhow, but that, he tried out, but apparently was holding himself back enough that he didn't make the team. But his sister, Altona, she potentially either didn't hold back as much, assuming that she has super strength, or she just had no need to hold back, and so was just genuinely doing her best. But it's also about Darren here, how it's, I built myself an empire, and empire is even bolded here, which might just, be him verbally emphasizing it, but as we continue on, he is obsessed with being an emperor. He is incredibly prideful and wants the empire to confirm his pride, to validate him. So, yeah, he's not going to tell Avery what's up with Jasmine, where she is, anything like that. And just tells Avery that she's all right, and he can go back and just tell her mother that. And Avery's, is she actually all right? Expect me to lie to Mrs. Newman. You're on one. Where is she? So at this point, Darren just has his men go at Avery, and it's not going to go well for them. But there's also this, because first guy comes at him, and Avery just apparently throws him to a wall. And by the way, who the hell were you talking to like that? So, I mean, it's stated later on, but it's very much by Darren disrespecting Avery, it's look, I don't even care about finding Jasmine. I mean, he's going to do that. But his priority now is he has to deal with this jerk disrespecting him. So he beats up basically everybody. And it's not in a... He is doing it willfully, but it's not like they aren't attacking him. So I'm not sure if I would completely call this self-defense, but it is more aligned with that than him being the aggressor. And then Santuan shows up, who is an except, also with super strength, it seems, that Darren has hired. And he does beat up on Avery, who I guess just wasn't really expecting this, wasn't really prepared, mentally or physically, and Santuan. Right, Santuan? Yeah, I want to make sure I get the name right. Yeah, Santuan. Picks him up, drags him out of the building, and then throws him into the air, where he just happens to then collide with Yaira, so now he's got to deal with her. Because he's thinking that he doesn't necessarily realize he was thrown into her like that, so they just fall down to the ground. Let me guess, he hired you to clean up. So he's thinking, okay, this is somebody else that Darren has hired. And she, was just having to deal with the police, and her response is just, who is he? Why are you dressed like you're undercover? So she's thinking he's a cop, and he is able to, counter her blows. But then we get to this, where they're just standing off. No amount of super police could stop me. Super police... I don't know who you think I am, but I'm not them. Then why are you so damn strong? Because to Yaira, it's, why are you involved? But also, if you're so strong, why aren't you with them? Well, she can fly, so she grabs him, so it's dragging him up into the sky. He tries saying, you got the wrong guy. I bet that this will send a message to the right guy, and then she hurls him to the ground. Fortunately, they are high enough that he is able to turn himself, so he'll land on his back, crushing a cab. And Alpha Core is currently standing around him. And does also point out that, this one is going to be tough. I've trained my body to do things people like me shouldn't be able to do. I'm a little confused by that, but unfortunately for me, flying ain't one of them. Yeah, people like me shouldn't be able to do. I don't know what that means. It's like, you have super strength. What else are you able to do that isn't super strength? Or are you just saying that you've trained yourself, that like you're a normal human, you just have trained, you view yourself as a normal human, you've just trained yourself to be super strong? I'm a little uncertain there. It then cuts back to Silman Ranch, where we see that they are getting paid, but it sounds like, that they're good with helping people. That, another rancher came here, it sounds like, and it's just having to buy from them, and it's like, yeah, no problem. I mean, it's been a crazy year, Sam. Moved both my mother and daughter to the ranch. That's why I'm always cleaning you out, always eating the food. My mouth to feed, among other things. Well, we've got plenty, especially when you pay ahead of time. So it's, it's not that, like, they aren't being paid, but, they are happy to help out. But Sam here is basically the right-hand man, maybe the foreman, might be his actual position, don't know, but he seems to have a better sense of what's going on with Avery, and is even like, well, we might be needing to replace him. You're basically thinking he just went down, and it's possible he's just going to get into trouble and get killed. Well, he was in the hospital, because Alpha Core took him there. There's no ID on him, though, and nurse and doctor are talking about how basically, yeah, he might be an except, seeing as how he got thrown from a great height into a taxi and didn't die. But they aren't certain, but still the doctor points out, even with all these signs that there's something different about him, you still put him on the first floor because the bed is empty. He just got up and left. He has a GPS tracker that he apparently did set off so that his sister will come and find him, because he figures, well, Darren has probably had my truck with my spare clothes and phone and all that. towed, so it's like he just needs a ride to the impound to get that. He's refusing to tell his sister much, does give a little bit, but not too much. Just point out that bringing in the police, which he had recommended earlier, not at this stage, not a good idea. That may provoke Darren to do something horrible to Jasmine. But yeah, sis, I can handle myself. I'll give you more details later. Just let me get my ride, a new set of clothes, and regroup. If you don't update me every other hour, I will tell moms. So, yeah, because she wants those updates, and just, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. This is a good conversation. I actually do. I am enjoying how some of this goes, some of this dynamic works. Not just because of how these two are communicating, but also Avery's mind at this point is in, he disrespected me. I gotta deal with this. And say, look, this isn't your business, sis. I have to handle this now. And he's, doesn't have to give all the details and all that to her either. It's just, nope. My business, I gotta handle this. Something goes on at the ranch, but we don't really know, because it's just, he does end up calling Sam, talks to him, gives him a little bit of an update. But when Sam, this is at night, so everyone is gone for the night, but Sam, he's come back to the building, and he notices that a door is open. And so he pulls his gun and goes in, but we don't see anything more of that, so don't really know what's up. Avery returns to, I don't think I had specified that Darren runs a club. He's going to return to the club to deal with stuff there. To try to find Jasmine, also to deal with Darren. We then cut to inside the club, where we meet two more people that appear to be excepts, though exactly what they do is unclear. One called Michael Copper, one called Lillian Ronashi. His eyes just start glowing, and it seems he's able to then just read everyone around them. She just, holds a ball above her hand, forms a ball above her hand that's just, warping light around. It's like, okay, I got no idea what she's doing. They are talking about, if they can own a place like this, it'll be helpful, because so many people come here. It's a way to gain information. Before going much further, I do want to say one thing. Well, a couple things. Don't forget, this is the first book in the Rippaverse. And while there are a lot of things like that, I got no idea who this Michael Copper and Lillian Ronashi are at all. Yaira, I do know, because I've heard things from people talking about this stuff, but still technically don't know who she is, based on what's presented here. Alpha Corps we got some history on. At least we know they are super police. So there's that. This is well constructed, at least as far as, while there are questions being opened, none of them feel urgent. This exists. I'm given enough to know where we are, what the relevance is right now. Any questions that I may have are concerning irrelevant points. It's that's a different story. This story, it's not relevant here. We can just keep moving on. That might also be helpful. That's also kind of Avery's point of view here, is that he's doing this because he got disrespected at this point. Yeah, he wants to help Jasmine, but he was disrespected. So it's also that his focus there is also helping focus the events as well. So it's I'm not questioning. I'm just trying to think of a good example from some of the others. I'm just trying to run through Zaylin in my mind, and it's I mean, true, I don't know a thing about his history. And it's what the heck is going on here? If there is such thing as time travel, why doesn't it just use that to figure out the plan? Why did he leave the plane? Blah, 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 blah. It's all those different issues there. I don't feel that here. Great War of Separation, there were more questions that were opened about, okay, how many excepts do you expect to find here? Because, what are the numbers we're expecting? What happens when Solari and the others were being trained? There were a lot of questions there that just were not answered, but were relevant. what is happening with this new civil war while they're being trained. We're never told anything. It's just, those are things where it's like, okay, those are relevant questions that I'm not getting answers to. Here, I feel those questions are irrelevant to the story itself. So I do appreciate that, and that is good. That's a good thing. All right, so yeah, Avery's going in. He just happens while going around back encounter Jasmine. And honestly, he didn't expect to find you this easily. Your mother's worried about you. Oh no, I'm not here to judge you. Just tell me if it's involuntary. But security walks up. She leaves, and Avery's not in good mood. And he does have a fair point here. Let me ask you something of the guard who comes up and just grabs at him. Why is putting your hands on someone so aggressively your first instinct? This is, fairly appropriate. And then he just proceeds to beat the shit out of them. And he does also make the point, I came here without much in mind. Thanks to you, I now have a reason to do what I'm about to do. And what's that? You'll see it in a bit. Either way, this is my last set of clothes, so hands off the merch. So it is a... it kind of is like what I said earlier about he's technically not fully acting in self-defense. He is being provoked into these things. Yes, that's absolutely true. But he's also in the situation to be provoked. He's not in the situation to just get through the situation. He is in the situation to be provoked. So, he's going in with a bad mood, and that is it contributing to the situation that he will then be provoked. And yeah, so it's... Yeah, so he just keeps going. He keeps beating up people. When he finally busts down the doors, he just tells everyone there that basically, look, you can leave right now. You should. That you don't want to be involved in this. And it's like, just, I got my business with Darren. That's it. You're not involved. Don't involve yourselves is kind of how he's viewing it. But it still is it's that bad mood. He's in a situation to be provoked. He's yeah. Regular guys come out, keep fighting him, and try to keep fighting him. He even tells one of them, hold the door open for me, because it's like, once I'm done with them, I'm coming there. Santuan then shows back up, and one thing curious here. Where is it? He makes a reference to... Yeah. You wouldn't have... Hang on. If you weren't so self-absorbed, this is Antoine talking to him, you could see there was a lot of money to be made in being what you are. I can actually, in a way, talk a lot about him a little later. You wouldn't have to lose 3 consecutive fights for free. What I find curious about this is that then later... somebody or something obviously wants me to get... Okay. We've run into each other too many times for this to be a coincidence. This is literally the second time in one day. Somebody or something obviously wants me to get rid of you. There will not be a 4th fight. And it's like, this is only a 2nd fight with them. What are you talking about? Yes, it's his... I'm just trying to... Well, I guess maybe if he's counting... I don't know. I don't like how that's written there. Because, like, okay, Avery had the fight with the first guards. Fight with Santuan. Fight with Yaira. Fight with guards again. Fight with Santuan again. So that's at 5, is where we currently are. If we merge the guards and Santuan initially, then we're at 4, so that gives us 4. Well, there won't be a 4th fight. So it's like, I guess, but it still is. He's claiming credit for the Yaira fight? It just seems odd. Like, he's talking about how, I'm gonna kill you now. But it's... And he's referencing a fight that he had nothing to do with. There's no indication he intentionally threw him into Yaira. So, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. But Avery, he's now actually stretching and such, where it's basically making the point that, look, I'm going to beat you, right? You're not going to beat me. He just wasn't at least mentally prepared to fight somebody with super strength. But Santuan is somewhat of an interesting character. In part, and I can say that in part because I wrote a character a little bit similar to him, not completely. Because this guy just sees he's mercenary. He's like, hey, we got these abilities, we should be using them to our benefit. And he also talks about how he doesn't like the term accept because it kind of suggests that they're equal. Yeah, attempts to place people like us on the same plane. We are not equals. So he doesn't think that Avery and he are equals, even though they are both accepts. And it's just, I kind of get, well, I do get it. I do get it. But I'm just thinking, in So Many Gifts, I got the character Dave. He's not the only one, but he's the primary voice of this, where basically we have these abilities. Survival of the fittest. We're the fittest. We should be in charge. We should be in power. And that does lead to various things, because Sam understanding this, and so when there's finally a confrontation between those two, Sam, his intention is not to actually kill Dave. Dave does end up being killed, but he doesn't want to. But Sam isn't interested in killing him. He's actually interested in just defeating him and breaking him to make the point that you're wrong. That no. All humans are equal. It's when we start thinking that we're not, that actually leads to so many problems. And that he will fight to protect the reality that no, we are all equal. So Santuan here is not only like, we're better than everyone else, but some of us are better than others among us. So Sam would very much not like this guy. Probably have a lot more fun tearing him apart than Avery is here. So Avery does manage to beat him. And then the cops arrive, which I do find this encounter a little funny, in part because Avery, the hell are you thinking? So these are the three guards. Is that Santuan? This guy must have got kicked out of Merc, the name of the club. Hands where I can see them. You really gonna take it this scumbag side? Don't you know who he is? Down on the ground, now! And then Avery just smacks his head, says damn, and runs off. But it's like, I mean, from their point of view, they did just walk up on you fighting the dude who works in the club, who might be considered a bouncer there, and you just beat the shit out of him. Them walking up is fully you're trespassing. You've potentially just assaulted somebody who may have just been trying to evict you from the property, being the bouncer. Yeah, Avery, their point of view, you're probably the bad guy here. I'm saying maybe they would consider the Santuan a scumbag, but it might still be he's legally right. You're not. Sui runs off and does use his strength to basically just leap up onto buildings, climb around, which confuses the three guys a little bit, the three police officers, because it's like, if he could fly, why did he run from us? I called in during the chase. He won't get far. He will if they're not looking to the skies. This could be an Alpha Core problem. Anyway, he's able to get away, because basically he just needs to get far enough away for them to not see where he's gone. And he goes to Altona's house. It's 2 a.m. Do some talking there. He also does warn her, because Darren might come for her as well. And at this point we then meet Vassie, who is Altona's daughter, so Avery's niece. And it is definitely she loves her uncle, he loves his niece. But he isn't around very much, because they live in the city. He likes living out on the outskirts, but he does apologize. Basically, he should be trying to come in more. We do get a mention here that the father's name is Terrell, or was. He was a good man. I could not have asked for a better brother-in-law. So it sounds like he has died, because that doesn't seem like something you would say if there was a divorce. We then get that Vassie is apparently a bit too intelligent. in some ways. Well, that girl's too smart for her own good, because she, despite being 8 years old, still jumped onto Avery to be held by him. And she explains that the reason why is because when she does it with other people, she can feel their muscles tensing up to hold her, but not him. And because I heard you and Grandma talking on the phone, it sounded like you had powers, super strong. He basically, well, he does praise the theory, but says that no, that's not true. You're just thinking too much like your mother. Seems like you're picking up your mother's knack for science. But also explains that I've just been lifting weights a lot, so yeah, I don't. You aren't that heavy to me. She then shows him Altona shows him the security footage from when Jasmine went missing, so he's able to interpret from that it looks like her reaction to a phone call that then saw her leave the building and not come back is not that of fear, but of anger. So it seems like something's just happening at the wrong time. Then cut to Darren, where we get his speech talking about how empire is so important to him, that he's obsessed with power because he's a very prideful man. And that now he's going to give everyone the orders to... Well, he's going to give everyone the information on Avery to then go and kill him. To get him, and potentially, if necessary, go after the family. We then cut to Avery visiting Taylorsville, which is apparently the guy who created the original Isom suit and has made suits for other people as well. Because Isom actually returned it and it's like, well, looks like I need it now. So sort of a John Wick, it looks like I'm back kind of thing, though not necessarily with as much anger. Where is it? Hang on. Alright. Have you heard of rubanon or silicus? Such fascinating materials that aren't exactly in abundance on this planet. So we do get a setup that there are other worlds that somehow Earth is in contact with, such that he can get these other materials. Avery wants his suit back, but the guy's like, no. What? Not at least in this state. Every single design has my touch on it, so when you wear it, you're representing me, especially when it's your type. Your type. I put the emphasis in there wrong, but anyway. This is such an outdated design that I'm almost embarrassed by it. Let me ask you this. What is the most important thing you'd like this suit to accomplish? Absorb fall damage. When I asked you that before, you didn't even have an answer. It seems that we've both grown. And then we do see him in the suit. Suit again. Well, not again, but he is in the suit again. It's the first time we're seeing him in it, short of the cover art. But it's like, no mask, no covers for the hands. He wants it lightweight, and he wants it to be modified to absorb fall damage, which seems fair. Then we get to Norfolka, which is the band name. So we've got... What is the name? Valadin and Takari. So this is somewhat important. I will explain the specific aspect of that. But anyway, they're at a concert, they're singing, and some lyrics are written in here, which is important because it is pointed out later that apparently they are on Earth to monitor situation with demons and such, and something is coming. They can tell something is coming. Only something is up, something's off. And they don't want to call in the cavalry just yet because of how we'll throw the realm into chaos. Because remember that Norfolka, that's Norse stuff, or at least Norse inspired. So it seems like these two are just somehow in position, potentially going to be getting involved in stuff to come, but yeah. But anyway, it is Valadin. Why is that important? And it ends with them, so it's like, okay, something's up. presumably they're going to be getting involved. They're going to be coming to Flores Park. We'll see. But also it ends on the email that Darren had sent out to everyone to let them know that this is who we're after, Avery Silman and all that. So why does it matter that he is, in fact, specifically valid? Because one of the criticisms that I had for Norfolka was that it was stated that, yeah, by the time your youth is done, the length of time for your youth, to exit your youth, is generations passing for humans. Okay, this was said to Valden while he was still, like, benefit of the doubt, 12, 13, it looked like, rather young. At least for how he looked. He's now a full-grown adult in Isom. But every time that there was something being shown, in Norfolka, of his, of Earth, it was modern. It was showing, like, I think one of the panels may have even shown Isom fighting, like, hey, we just pulled a panel out of there. But it's like, seeing people walk around with cell phones. A dude on a ranch with a tractor. That tractor could have been 100 years old, which, okay, if that's, that could be the time period. That, okay, in 100 years, now he's a full adult. But then later we see, no, people in the city walking around on cell phones. So it's relatively modern. And that was a criticism that I had then. It's like, what is the timeline here? Where does this fit in? Because if he's an adult in Isom and he's a youth there, multiple generations are supposed to pass, but the time on Earth doesn't seem to have passed at all. So I just... That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem with Norfolka, to clarify that. Seeing that it is in fact the same guy, because it looked like it was, since we saw him being trained on a bow, and this guy, the dude that is shown as being on Earth, as an adult, also is using bows. Like, okay, that should be him. But no, now we have the same name being stated, so yeah, it's definitely him. So yeah, that's a problem, but that's for Norfolka. That's not for Isom. So I decided it is a little bit rounding up, but it's not that bad. Rounding this up to a week recommendation. Because did I enjoy it? Weekly. It was definitely interesting. I am connecting with characters here, but it wasn't necessarily all that as enjoyable as I might like it to be. But I use Isom 1. I mean, we'll see how Isom 2 and 3 go. Those might really grab me. I'm still very happy with this. I'm quite, especially compared to the stuff I've been reading in this. Yeah, let me just... And there are definitely, interesting things going on in here. And as I said, it's, we got what questions were open that I feel not answered yet. They also seem that they are more irrelevant. Those are things connected to something else. Like the whole, apparently they're, at least this one guy, Taylorville, is able to get resources from other planets. Okay. But we don't really need to go down in that, because that's not what Isom's mission is at the moment. It's not relevant there. So, yeah, I think I can also say it this way. It is, because I just read Gooding. This is the same day I finished with that, started this. Even though Gooding in some ways, because I like the tech, I like technology, can connect with me more. Gooding has an advantage there. I still like this better. And that was positively flavored, but failed to recommend, as I recall. Right? Yeah. Large part because that felt generic. This did not feel generic. And I do also like and I, not in the same way, but it's kind of similar thinking. Where Avery, he's just doing this, he's now involved because, like, Darren disrespected me. I gotta deal with that. And it's kind of like how I've got in Show Money Gifts, going back to that. At one point, there's somebody who has a hostage and is like, let me go or I'll kill her. And the response is, okay, so you letting me go? No, go ahead and kill her. Because once she's dead. There's nothing to stop me from killing you. And it's like the guy saying this is like, I give me the reason. Like, get her out of the way. Let's do this. And it is kind of similar thinking in that, yeah, it's a bad guy, but the reason isn't necessarily virtuous. It's like, Avery is not acting on a virtue here. He was disrespected. He wants to deal with that. Yes, he does also want to help Jasmine, but it's still I gotta deal with this. And in Truman he gives the guy who's like, go ahead, kill her. He is definitely not. He's actually the most evil character in that book. But this still is, there can be a certain satisfaction, even just to writing it, not just reading it, to just let somebody be that little bit off. Like, here's the expectation. Nope, this is why I'm doing it. This is what I'm doing instead. So yeah, I do recognize it's in a different way. It's a different flavor here, but I do still recognize that here, and I do like that because it is interesting. It helps. It isn't a deconstruction. It isn't a subversion. It's just a dude has a different reason than the stereotypical generic one. I mean, it's like, why is Gooding doing what he's doing? Because he's just a good guy. That's it. That seems to be it. And that's fine. But that is kind of stereotypical. That is kind of generic. Avery, why is he doing what he's doing? At least thus far, it's like, because my mom will kill me if I don't. But then it becomes man, disrespect me. I can't be disrespected. I gotta deal with this. And it's just, I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. So, yeah, weak recommendation. I would not be too surprised though if when I actually go in to write up the review, or at least for the written review, I'm gonna have a subsection for each of these stories. But the recommendation and conclusion will be overall, so I'll have mini reviews in there, I guess. But for this one, I could see myself deciding now it should just be should be one, so failure to recommend, but positively flavored, same as Gooding. And salvage, those were both. But this one, it might also be just weak recommendation. I don't know. It's kind of on the edge. It's how much did I actually enjoy it or not, and it's just, I feel that though is a good thing to say actually right there. I feel like I need to keep reading. I haven't felt that for any of these others. Even, and true, none of them were more than one part, except for Great War of Separation, and that I wasn't. It's like, okay, I get to the next one. I genuinely do want to read the next one. So that is very good. That is very good. So I actually do want to add that. Do want to read the next one, which is better than can say for any of the previous stories. Maybe Gooding. There isn't a Gooding 2 in here, but even then, it still is it's pretty generic. So I don't know. I'm just I'd be curious. And yeah, I guess that's a way to put it. I'm curious about a Gooding 2. I am genuinely interested in Isom 2. So yeah, we'll have to be getting to that later because I gotta go get dinner. See ya.